All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get started. First of all, I want to thank you all for joining this session. This is going to be a nice workshop. So my name is Mace Al-Alami. I work with the Palestine Institute for Public Diplomacy, which is a NGO based in Ramallah, working on Palestinian human rights, and our digital platform is called Raqmيا. And today I'll be telling you more about our tool called Palestine VR, or Palestine Virtual Reality, which is basically a tool that can be used to show the reality of occupation and the apartheid system on the ground in many different ways. So the whole point of this workshop is that we show you how to use this tool for yourself. So a lot of our events, we use this tool as a way to educate on the occupation and Israel's apartheid system. And we have videos of different cities, and I'll share my screen in a little bit so that you can see what I am talking about. But we show different cities and base the events on different topics, and use the tool as a way to talk to policymakers or decision makers or student groups, youth groups in Europe, in the US, in the Middle East. And it is always such a powerful tool to give a realistic depiction of what's going on the ground. So to begin, I'm going to share my screen. I'm just making sure everyone can hear me in the chat. Everyone can hear me and see me, is that right? What happened? All right, I think we're back on. Reem, thank you for letting me know. Okay, can everyone see my screen and hear me okay? All right. So, I'm going to start off by showing you a quick example of what I'm talking about when I say a virtual reality tour. So we have, actually, let me go back. We have currently playlists on our YouTube that are in the city of Jaffa, of Khan al-Ahmar, of Ramallah, of Hebron or Al-Khalil, of Jerusalem, Al-Quds, and of Gaza. And the whole point of it being that each of the playlists have different aspects of the city, and each video has a 360 rotation. So let's start off, for example, and take the Jaffa video. This Jaffa video was taken by Abid Abu Shhade, who's a municipality member, I believe, or leading member. And he shows us around Jaffa and tells us about the historic aspects of Jaffa, the gentrification of Jaffa, and its meaning to Palestinians and how it was over the years by the occupation. So I'm going to show you a quick example before I go into more details.
My name is Abid Abu Shhade, and I'm going to be your VR tour guide today in Jaffa, Palestine. I'm a city council member elected by the people of Jaffa and the Tel Aviv Jaffa.
So here what the function of the video is that you can press down on your mouse and you drag it around so that you are able to show a 360 preview of the area, right? Now, the benefits of this VR experience is that you can use it right now in online events in the way that I'm doing it. So you can share your screen, or you can live stream it through YouTube and just use it as a simple tool to move around. You can also create on-campus or in-person events using actual VR goggles, but they're not necessary, so you don't actually need them. You just use the goggles as an extra accessory. So we've done events in Europe, in Berlin, and elsewhere, and in Sweden, I believe, where we actually had meetings, physical meetings, and we used the VR tools, so the goggles, to actually create a more immersive experience. And so, but since we are currently under lockdown and many of us are not able to leave our houses or travel, this is a great tool that you can use elsewhere, online. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the topics of what you can use this tool for. But before I continue, I want to make sure that there are no questions. Everyone's okay? All right. So this tool can be used to talk about various topics, whether it be the separation wall, water scarcity and distribution, settlement, fragmentation, apartheid and segregation, forced displacement, and so on. So, for example, using the Yafa tour, the first part we start in the city, and then we move to the old city. So in the old city, Abid walks us through the different passageways, and he takes us down to the marina down there. And he talks about the history of the area. So I'm gonna let him speak for a bit, just to give you an experience of what it's like to watch.
To Yafa's port, considered to be one of the most ancient and important ports in the Mediterranean and in the Middle East. Now, a few important things about Yafa's port. First of all, it's a natural port. The wave breaker you see just in front of me is considered to be new. It was built in the 30s. What's important about it is the limestone surrounding Yafa's port that built it as a natural port. Now, another important thing about Yafa is it's the closest port to Jerusalem. So pilgrimage from Europe, Christians, Muslims from North Africa, and Jews from North Africa that wanted to come to Jerusalem, historically speaking, through the sea, they would probably pass through Yafa's port. This is also one of the reasons why Yafa was so multicultural. It's like all different religions, different places of the world.
So I'm going to stop it here. And then he, towards the end, Abid also takes us to the residential areas in Yafa.
Okay, guys. So now we're located in the Ajami neighborhood, one of the older neighborhoods of Yafa. What's important about this neighborhood is today it's where the majority of Palestinians remained after 1948. It remained. Now the story of Ajami also tells the story of what happened here after 1948. When you talk about the Nakba, a lot of the time we focus on what happened to the villages. We don't focus enough what happened to the city. In 1948, not only did we lose the war, the majority of the Palestinian residents who lived in Yafa turned into refugees, about 97% of them.
So I think the point is quite clear. What's unique about these tours is that we have Palestinians or Israeli allies conducting them. Palestinians who grew up there, who know the area, and who will tell you the history of occupation and how it transformed the city. So this was Yafa. We have, let me see. Next, let me take you to, for example, Ramallah, who is conducted by Jana Jihad, who is just speaking, a wonderful speaker. Jana, for example, her tour of Ramallah shows us the center of Ramallah, the city of Ramallah, and what it means for the younger generation and how it looks different from the older generation. She's also here showing us the checkpoints and how if she is, as a Palestinian, to move around, she has to go through various checkpoints. So I'll let her speak for a bit for you to experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Jana Jihad and I'm 13 years old. I live here in the village of Nabi Saleh and I'm the youngest registered press card carrying journalist in the world. Right now we are at the entrance of the village of Nabi Saleh. As you can see, there is a checkpoint. We have 2 checkpoints at the entrance of Nabi Saleh, which I have to go through every single day. I go to my school or go to the mall or anywhere.
So for example, if we're having a meeting with a youth coalition or European parliamentary members, and we want to show them what it looks like for a Palestinian to cross checkpoints and the reality of discrimination in movement, in physical movement, we would use a video like the Ramallah tour with Jana Jihad to show them what the citizens of, for example, Nabi Saleh have to deal with, right? So this is one way. I'm going to check the chat really quickly, make sure everyone can hear me. Cool. All right, so another great video that I would like to share with you is Hebron. So the city of Hebron is a very strong example of the physical and geographic manifestation of an apartheid state. What does that mean? It actually shows us how there are checkpoints, there is segregated streets, so streets which Palestinians can drive through and streets which they cannot, how all the main streets are being taken up by Israeli Jewish citizens, so Palestinians cannot pass through and they need to take longer routes to actually get to where they need to get to. I want to share with you this video, which I think is quite a strong video. It starts in Shuhada Street and shows the checkpoint that Palestinians have to get through to be able to go into the area.
We are standing now at the beginning of Shuhada Street. This street used to be the main street in Hebron, which connects the north of the city with the south of the city. Shuhada Street in Hebron contains several Palestinian markets, such as the yogurt market, the camels market, the vegetable and the fruit market, and also the Palestinian bus and gas station. The Palestinians lost their access to the street after the Abraham Mosque massacre, which was committed by an Israeli settler called Baruch Goldstein, who comes originally from New York, Brooklyn.
So this video, for example, the city of Hebron, in a tour I conducted with PSC, who's a UK partner, we combined Hebron along with, I believe it was Jerusalem. And the whole point was to show how different spaces, Palestinian spaces, have been transformed and how Palestinians have been evicted from their places. So over here, we go from this point. Of course, there are many tours. So in each one of them, there are approximately 10 tours and each one is different. So here we have the checkpoints. Next, we have a school.
Here we are in front of Beit Romano settlement. Beit Romano is the second Israeli settlement in Shuhada Street. This settlement used to be a Palestinian elementary school called Osama School. 1980, the Israeli military came to the school, kicked the Palestinian kids out of it, and made it as a Jewish school for them.
And then next we go to the marketplace.
We're standing now below the third Israeli settlement in the street, which is called Avraham Avinu settlement, which means Abraham is.
So for example, this video is a very strong video that we use often to show how Palestinians are constantly being attacked under settlements and how Israeli police forces are not actually on their side. They often disregard, do not pay attention to the violations that Palestinians experience from settlers. So I'll leave this video to play a bit before I move on.
Our father. This settlement was built on the top of the Palestinian vegetable and fruit market, which is behind of these stores, and also on the top of the Palestinian stores, where they occupied the top floors of the stores, and also they built new building on the top of them. The Israeli settlers who live in these buildings, or in this building, they keep throwing rubbish, stones, down on Palestinians. All kind of rubbish they don't need, they throw it down.
So for example, one of the strong physical markers that we use is if you look up here, there's a net that's made of just a net to basically hold all the rubbish and stones that are being thrown at Palestinians that they propped up to protect themselves from attacks from settlers.
On Palestinians, plus pouring skunk water on Palestinians. And you can see just right here, the rubbish, the sticks, the stones, everything they don't need, they throw on Palestinian passengers who pass from here. Two Israeli.
Right, so we continue on, we go to a mosque, we go to a city. So this city, for example,
standing now in front of As-Salama neighborhood. This is a Palestinian neighborhood.
So this neighborhood, in this video, we talk about how it's caged in and how there are curfews and they're highly militarized and policed neighborhoods, and so on. So Hebron, for example, you could use for an event where you want to show the manifestations of an apartheid state and how it discriminates against Palestinians so outright and so clearly, in ways that you perhaps could not deliver in a verbal manner. All right, let's go back to the playlists and let me make sure that there are no questions. All right, let's continue. So next, I would love to share Jerusalem with you. So the Jerusalem tour we basically have it in two parts. The first part is by Professor Ali Klebo, who takes us to different religious sites and tells us the history of these religious sites, and also sometimes mentions who can and cannot access these points, the sort of conflict that occurs and discrimination that occur. And then the second part we have is with Daniel Seidman, who takes us to the city and talks to us about the West Bank and East Jerusalem, and how it was annexed in 1967 and what that manifestation looks like now. He also takes us to some areas of the settlements and talks about the expansion of settlements being so detrimental to this two-state reality that some people still talk about, and how difficult it is to actually create a two-state reality within the actual geographic manifestation of these settlements everywhere. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video, and then I'll show you an example of the Daniel Seidman video.
I'm Ali Klebo, doctor in anthropology and a specialist in the social history in Jerusalem. Moreover, I come from one of the patrician families of Jerusalem. We have come with the early Muslim openings and have been here from the 7th century. Jerusalem has always been the center and the focal point in Islam. It's one of the 3 holy cities.
So this is, you can pause the video, you can show the scenes around while also talking. You don't have to play the video. You can mute the video if you want to, if your focus is on something else. There's another one from the inside of the mosque, which I think is quite a powerful site for many people who find this a religious location. And there's the church, I believe, next. This is the church.
Okay, we are now in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I come here and it has many memories for me. My grandfather, my uncles have always had the custody of the key of the Holy Sepulchre. We have been here, the Muslim family that has the custody.
Right, so this can be a good introduction into the religious significance of Jerusalem, and the different sites that are important to different religious and Palestinians or Jewish Israelis. And then this video, for example, of Jerusalem, we walk through the old city, and Professor Ali Klebo talks about the discriminatory law that allows Jewish Israelis to claim homes if they have proof that they owned them previously, but it does not allow the same right to Palestinians. So the discrimination of the law of return and so on. So these are the Jerusalem videos, and then we have the second part by Daniel Seidman. I'll play one of them so that we can move on.
We're in the Palestinian neighborhood of Isawiya in occupied East Jerusalem. Don't let the pastoral calm deceive you. Isawiya, with its 18,000 residents, has been under siege for the last 6 months. Since May of 2019, there have been...
So of course you have control over the video. You can play the first part, you can stop it, you can shift it to other parts. Just curate it in the way that you need, right? And then, yeah, there's another video, I think, at the UNRWA.
We're at a viewpoint overlooking the large settlement neighborhood of French Hill. From the Palestinian neighborhood of Ashayach, we are overlooking the third largest...
So these are the videos that he talks more about settlements and what they mean. And Daniel Seidman has a lot of context and history that he gives, so he can be quite a powerful tool as well for a tour. So we've talked about Jaffa, we've talked about Ramallah, we've talked about Hebron and Jerusalem. So I'll move on to Gaza. And then let me just check that there are no questions. All right, are we all good?
Shalom.
So this is the Gaza playlist. There are 9 videos. This is the first one. I'll play it for you for context, and then I'll explain more.
You have 5 minutes to empty your house. That's the Israeli alarm for thousands of Palestinians moments before the shelling of their houses begin. 5 minutes for Palestinians to realize the size of helplessness, weakness, and pain while they collect themselves and their children on the destruction of their houses and to wake up the next morning on the no-shelter catastrophe.
So I find this to be one of the strongest videos because home demolitions, forced home demolitions are such a big issue in Palestine that goes unnoticed a lot of the time. So when you show actual rubble, actual destruction, it can be a very strong way to deliver a message of what the physical manifestation of that looks like and the actual situation that many Palestinians have to face. Gaza also talks about medical aid, like we have Shifa Hospital.
Probably the place that you would hear about most frequently when there is an escalation on Gaza is a Shifa Hospital, where I'm standing now. It's in the middle of the Gaza city.
So in this video, we talk about lack of medical facilities and medical aid and how many people can't even get emergency help within Gaza. And of course, it's a sieged-in area, so they struggle to get medical help at all sometimes. So this is a very strong video. There's also the video about fishing in Gaza and how the water area is controlled by Israeli forces. And Palestinian fishermen are often very restricted in where they can fish, which then mean that their livelihoods are restricted. I'll play that quite quickly.
Hi, I'm here on one of the fishing boats in the Gaza seaport. Fishing in Gaza is one of the difficult and dangerous jobs to work in due to so many reasons. One, Israel keeps changing.
All right. And then we also go to the market. There's a part about the agriculture sector, about poverty, what it looks like, the conditions that people live in Gaza. We have the beaches as well, and the beaches actually is a very strong video because it shows where Gaza is located, the borders on each side, and the conditions under which they're restricted, their movement is restricted.
Strip is a geographical spot that embodies the largest open-air prison on this land. Gaza residents are imprisoned by political bars. Here to the north, we have the Erez crossing border, which is under Israeli authorities. While here to the south, we have the Rafah crossing border, which is open for Gazan residents.
And let's see.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, I think this is it. So this is Gaza, and then let me see what's left. I think the last one is the Bedouin community of Khan al-Ahmar, which I think is a very strong video tour as well. There it is, which is led by Fadi Quran.
My name is Fadi Quran, and I'm a campaign director at Avaz. Right now, we are entering the Bedouin town of Khan al-Ahmar. The community here is an indigenous Bedouin community from the Negev desert, but they were forcibly transferred and removed by the Israeli military over 70 years ago. And they came to this area, east of Jerusalem, in order to restart their life. They connected with the land, they built these very simple homes, and they would roam all these mountains in this area, pursuing a dignified life after their...
All right, so we have different videos here with Fadi takes us to a school as well.
Walking into the Khan al-Ahmar elementary school. And this school was built through struggle. We are now with Eid Abu Khamis, one of the key leaders of Khan al-Ahmar and their representative. And Abu Khamis, what are some of the key challenges that you are facing today?
Sometimes the audio is a bit tricky because of cars or of wind, but all these videos are a very powerful way to put across a lot of different issues.
We were behind me and we walked a few hundred meters so that you could see the full scale of the Ma'ali Adumim settlement in front of us. And then the settlement in the distance is the settlement we saw right on top of Khan al-Ahmar. Now, we're also joined with Atallah Mazar'a Abu Basil, who is the leader.
All right, so I think these are the majority of the tours. I'm gonna return here for a bit. All right, so basically the way we conduct these tours is that I create a curated list on YouTube. So I check which videos I want to include and I create my own playlist. And then I use that to stream live or to share my screen as I'm doing right now and do it. And a lot of the times what we do is we invite a speaker. Sometimes it is, we invite a speaker or someone from the community. So for example, when we had the Yafa tour, we had Abid speak. We also had someone from Youth Against the Settlements join as well. And they're very useful way of depicting the actual reality on the ground. I'm just gonna check the comments. Can we use these videos freely for events like conferences? Is there subtitles, other languages in English? Then English, thank you for your answer. Yes, so that's the whole point. So we created this tool so that others can use them, and we want people to just go and use them instead of always having to go through us. And the whole point is that you use them in conferences, in knowledge and awareness raising events. You use them as youth organizations on campus. You use them just as events in your community. And it's also a way that you can create a full event, right? So as I mentioned, you can have speakers, you can have it be, let's say like a fundraising event that starts with creating a VR tour and then bringing someone on to talk about the situations Gazans are living under, or the water scarcity, or segregation, or displacement of indigenous communities like in Khan al-Ahmar. And I don't know if there are any more questions. Let me see. If anybody wants to join, please feel free to request to join if you want to speak or say anything. Sorry, I'm checking the comments. So beyond these topics, we're also working on other tours. So we're working on tours that address, for example, climate change and how the occupation plays into the climate crisis and how it causes further environmental damages through demolitions, through settlement buildings, through using up the natural resources of the land, whether it be agriculture or fishing, etc. And I'd love participation, any questions that you might have. I will go ahead and share the link to our YouTube channel with you in the comments. So this is our YouTube channel. And our social medias are Akrabit by PIPD. Okay, I think Sari has a question. Let me see if I can get her to join. No. Oh, okay. Sorry guys, I'm struggling a little bit to navigate this, but I'll figure this out. If anybody wants to join, I think you can select at the top of your screen. Let's see. Fatin Abdirrahman had a question. فاتن إذا لساتك معنا وعندك سؤال بتحبي تسأليه بليز ارجعي اسأليه مرة تانية. Alright فاتن أنا آسفة مو قادرة ألاقيكي. Okay, I found you. There you go. So منير أعتقد or نمير مراد كان عندك سؤال بليز كمان ابعت لي السؤال بالشات. I'm just going to continue until Fatin or Namir بيسألوا. They have any questions? But yeah, so you can create a lot using this tool, and it would be also great if you train your own community, your own staff to use them. And outside even of online, so even if you're, so for example, you can use Zoom, you can share your screen, but you can also get the goggles, as I mentioned, and create an actual event that uses the goggles and gives an experience of what it's like on the ground. And you can couple the cities together. So last time I did Hebron and Jerusalem together to show what it looks like on the ground, to have the different segregated areas physically. You can also use, I used Gaza and Jaffa together as coastal cities to show what it looks like to have control over whether it be the agriculture or the fishing industry. You can use it to show military control of the areas and the policing of Palestinian movement. There's also videos that I don't think are live yet, but we will be posting soon of the wall and how it segregates the city. All right, Fatin sent the question. Let's see Fatin's question. So Fatin asks, despite these amazing efforts, we need structural efforts to engage widely in conferences and international platforms. The Israelis only attempt to talk freely about Israel and spread lies about the real situation here. How can we be involved in these platforms? Let's take an example. They spread lies about UNRWA and about our heritage in the UK. I saw many videos for Israelis who mobilize internationally. How can we increase the Palestinian presence in the international community? That's such a good question, Fatin. I think there are a lot of spaces that are lacking Palestinian narrative, Palestinian-led narrative. And I think using events like this, you are presenting such a factual manifestation of occupation and of the reality on the ground that it cannot be easily argued against. So these spaces that we're not able to go into, right? We're not invited into, but we can create our own spaces. So for example, one of our advocacy efforts is that we reach out, we initiate reaching out to policymakers, to parliamentary members in Europe, or to Congress women and Congress people in the US to organize events where we can use VR as a strong tool to show the stark reality of the occupation. So we can create our own spaces if we're not able to go into spaces that are, restricted to Israeli individuals or basically a Zionist discourse. So I really think that the Palestine VR can be a very powerful tool. And here's a fun fact that Palestine VR was actually started by PIPD as a tool after Congresswomen Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar were banned from coming to visit Israel and Palestine. And so PIPD created the VR tool so that they can create the same experience of the tours that the congresswomen were supposed to have physically online, so that they can still benefit from seeing the different cities. And so we can easily use these tools, what pandemic or not, to reach out to these politicians who may not yet be ready to make the step of actually physically visiting the Palestine and witnessing what it looks like to live under occupation and in an apartheid state. Fatin, I hope I answered your question. It's a very good question, and if participants have anything to say, it would be great to hear that as well. If there are any other questions, I would love to take them. Any logistical questions? Maybe I can share my screen really quickly to show you how to create a playlist on YouTube. I think that might be beneficial before we end. So let's basically say I want to create a tour of videos from Ramallah. What you'll do is you can go down here, click on here, or actually on here, the save. So you create a playlist, call it Palestine Tour Event. And you can make it public. Sure, create channel. It'll ask you to create a channel just so that people can access what you're doing. So let me do that again. So you go to save, create a playlist, Palestine VR tour, public, and you add it to it, right? And then let's say we want to add another video of Gaza, again, save. This time the playlist is already there, and you can see the icon, it means it's public. So now it's added. So if you go to your profile, you go to playlists, refresh, you're supposed to have it. I'm not sure. There it is. So you have now a curated tour of just these two videos, and you can change their order. You can move one up, one down. Let me, for example, save Abid's as well. And that way, your event, let's say you have 10 videos you want to take from different playlists that we have. Now you have your own playlist, and you can share the link with the participants, and you can also just share your screen and go from one video to the other instead of having to tackle it the way I did with so many different tabs. I think we're nearing the end of the session. We have 3 minutes left. I want to thank you all for paying attention. I hope this was clear. If it's messy in any way, shape, or form, I apologize. Please feel free to reach out to us and reach out to me if you have any questions. Simone, did you already share the link to the YouTube channel? I probably missed it. Of course, yes, let me share it with you right now, actually. So in addition to this, we have Dardashe, which is our show where we talk to different Palestinians across the world. And then we also have Tata's Kitchen, which is a cooking show where we have basically cooking sessions with different Palestinian tatas. So if you want to have fun, you can go ahead and watch them. And there's the YouTube video. Thank you all so much. Allah yafikum. Of course, thank you for attending. And again, please do reach out if you have any questions. I'll put my email in here as well in case you want to reach out for anything. Thank you, Fatin. It was so good to spend this time with you all. Here's my email, malalami@thepipd.com. And I hope you use it. I really do hope you use it. This is such a powerful tool to put our Palestinian voices and experiences out there. So that people know what Palestinians have to go through and what the reality looks like on the ground. Perfect. Thank you all. Have a great one. Bye.